Welcome back, everyone. I'm the Depressed Viewer, and this is Langrisser Mobile Apex Season 14. So from last week's video, I mentioned I was not going to be doing one this week, but apparently this week's event was opening Fridays as a possible Apex day. So this will be the day before I fly out, so I figured I'd go ahead and give this a shot. So for my opponent here, we got 0 tier. Pretty much a rush box. You got a Kaya, a few healers, I guess 2 primary healers, and I guess Agnes can also sort of be a healer, though she's more of a off healer. Number of characters that can help counteract AoE, and then a number of just assassins, single target strikers for the most part, but a little bit of AoE here and there as well. I immediately banned a Kaya because I knew if I let my opponent have a Kaya, they would take her. So I was like, alright, fine, do that. They banned my Awakener. Speaking of, the Awakened is now 6 stars, so that is the update for this week. But of course, she's practically primary bans for most people, so don't expect to see her too much anymore. Grabs there, Awakened. I spent a lot of time on this second ban because there's a lot of options here. I definitely had to get rid of Rose and Seal at the very least. And then, as you can see, there's kind of a variety here that can be kind of rough to deal with as well. Epsilon by himself is not too big of an issue, but he does kind of give a bunch of additional support to a bunch of other assassin characters. But I went ahead and banned Rose and Seal and Agnes, and this would probably force my opponent to pick a healer if necessary. Grab my Rose and Seal. So again, another opener where I'm taking a healer first. And of course my opponent's going to strike going for my DPS. Grabs Sword and Light and Shadow. At this point I could get rid of the remaining healer, but I wasn't that concerned about Florentia. So what I really wanted to get rid of was their tanks, and definitely wanted to get rid of Juggler. So got rid of both their tanks, just in case. Go ahead and grab Polyol as my opener. Most of this is mages, so physical damage I felt was going to be a lot better. Also, she's holy, so besides that, that's about it. She also can self-res on her own, which is kind of helpful. Also, if I really need to, I can make her into a physical tank, but right now there's both magic and physical I have to deal with. My opponent goes ahead and bans Lightbringer and bans Kyura. I think I actually picked the right KA name this time, and grabs their Kyura. This is kind of annoying because not Sword of My Shadow, the Awakened can buff Kyura since she's Time Faction. But beyond that, I wasn't that worried about it. The only thing I'm worried about for her is against Polyol, because Polyol is practically paper against magic. So at this point, I go ahead and get rid of Epsilon, get rid of Jintoki, grab Lana at this point. It's been a while since we've seen Lana in action. My opponent bans Agnes, bans Christiane. I was a little bit concerned about picking a tank because I wasn't sure if my opponent was just going to ban both Christiane and Hilda and leave me with just wow, I don't even remember her name. I don't use her that often, but I don't have much faction buff with her. Give me a moment. Freya, that's her name. So yeah, Freya doesn't really buff that much. She does have some ranged attacks with her little Thorn Whip thing, but beyond that I wasn't really that concerned. So at this point I was like, you know what, just in case I get yanked around by Awakened, after the first turn I don't have to worry about the Spellbound, but at the first turn she can actually apply Spellbound before I can actually put up any crystal barriers. And if my opponent decides to rush down, it's possible they can try to do a swap on me and wreck me that way. So at this point I go ahead and get rid of their teleport, get rid of Sherry since she can double tap and potentially bypass guard. I go ahead and grab Hilda at this point to negate any displacement. They ban more of my healers, leaving me with either another tank or another healer. And they grab, I left them with Bozel and Leon. SP Leon is a huge pain, but with Rose and Seal I felt like I would be okay. Also, since they left me with a second healer, I can probably out-heal anything that he throws my way. So I was kind of okay with this. And then, technically, with Bozel and Awakened, it can be a little messy as far as defending against all the debuffs they'll be throwing my way. But only if they come at me together. Also, this this Bozal is Demon class. That answers a lot of questions. Okay, so I go ahead and grab Sophia here. Alright. Okie dokie. So yeah, Kyura here with sorceresses, full offense, and guard bypassing. So nothing too surprising there. Yeah, pretty standard kit there. The Awakened one, Crystal Warlocks. Just checking a few things. I believe she's 5 stars, it looks like. Looks like 5 stars there. I think this is 6 stars. Okay. The Awakened, standard AoE setup with 3C in Black Hole there. Crystal Warlock, obviously the soak hits. Sword and Light Shadow, this one did go AoE. Nothing else to stand out. I believe she is 6 stars. Florentia is definitely 6 stars. We got 3C healing and winning strategy. So yeah, it's going to be a race for the most part. It's going to be a race between Florentia's heal and Kyura's passive healing. And I guess technically her Starshine can also, or Star Slash can heal as well. But if I can get past the initial healing, I can definitely kind of overwhelm my opponent with just raw AoE damage. And then we got Bozal here, who's definitely 6 stars. I was a little surprised in this fight, but I didn't realize this Bozal was Demon class of all things. Alright, so Demon class of course gives a lot more buffs, but the exchange is usually Demon class is really bad because it takes an extreme amount of damage from Holy, which conveniently I have 2 Holy characters. Well, technically I have 4 Holy characters, but 2 of them that are offense. Mostly standard kit for Bozal. Faction buff for himself, Seal, and then 3C for the most part. Over here we got Polyol. I went full AoEs with Hurricane Dance and 3C. I stuck with Trent Guards. I wasn't really expecting her to live long enough to really matter. Lana here. Actually, the benefit for Trent Guards, by the way, is they get a huge buff to all their stats while they're at 100%. I wasn't expecting her to stay at 100%, so that's why I'm not that concerned about it. Even with the bonus, you can see that, you know, M defense is not too fantastic. Anyway, we got Lana with Redeemers, full AoE. I was tempted to switch her to single target. She does have the AoE staff equipped, so it would be less effective. But I'm hoping I can just out-damage my opponent's Kyura passive. Kyura's passive, unlike Jugglers, heals a flat amount based off intelligence instead of based off current HP. The only catch about Kyura is she'll heal herself and one other person, so she can't heal everyone at once. And it's always going to be the lowest HP person. Rose and Seal here, I went ahead and stuck with Faction Buff. I had swapped a Faction Buff to do the Dimensional Expedition, or not Dimensional Expedition, the little trials that they have where you have to use a certain number, you have to use like a full team of a certain faction. I was finishing that up this week, so I had this equipped, and I decided to stick with it. I did have another healer just in case, and I was a little concerned about being having my buffs cleansed off of Decisive Blade there, so I was like, you know what, we'll just have a backup. Sophia here, I went ahead and swapped in Rewind. The idea here is if I get bad rolls on the Elemental Echo, and if Polyol stays alive, possibly, I can refresh their AoEs and just keep blasting. Alright, off we go. So, opening with a Dark Faction buff, which affects nearly everybody. I play it safe here. I went ahead and apply Miracle just so I can get the Crystal Barriers up. So yeah, sure enough, Spellbound came up just that moment. Breeze proc on Awakened here. A little redundant. Faction buff also when active, which only applies to Kyura. Pretty much next turn, the Awaken is going to reach me one way or the other. So for right now, I'm kind of just passing turns, just kind of seeing what my opponent does. So from here, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Yeah, so I can get to, from here I can AoE both Awakened and Kyura right now. But right now I don't actually have any buffs besides the Miracle active at the moment. So I went ahead and used this opportunity to just do a single target heal on Lana just to get her intelligence up. It's only 15%, but it's better than nothing. I don't think it procced anything else. Nope. Okay. Sure enough, my opponent keeps pressing forward, which was great, because now I hit 3 targets. Good stuff. Did pretty good damage there. It dispelled some buffs. Applied a few buffs myself. Yeah, I got rid of the not sure what I got rid of. But anyway, one thing I'm curious about... yeah, it still ignores class disadvantage, but Lana's intelligence is actually super high. And her damage goes up to like 35% if she has 5 buffs active, which she does. So she did quite a bit of damage. Kyra healed herself, healed Sword and Light and Shadow. So one more AoE will definitely take out the Awakened one, which of course will just make her clone next round. So I was like, alright, let's see what they do. Great. So at this point, Strategic Regroup is now on cooldown, so her only heal that's left is the faction buff, or not the faction buff, the 3C, and her, let this play out. So I can't see how much damage that was. Alright, we'll rewind it a little bit. But the only other heal that Florentia has is her troop-only heal. Also, she doesn't have access to a faction buff, so she can't really get any more battle strategies unless people die, which she did get one once Bozel died. But let's... So yeah, I need to do like 23,000, well 24,000 about, to kill Bozel with an AoE. And then... yeah, this is all physical. He doesn't have much defense against... well, he has okay defense for a mage. I don't do any initial damage with the trample because like they're out of range. Yeah, it looks like... I think that was like 30... I can't see the numbers exactly, but I think that was 30,000. So it was more than enough to kill Bozel in one shot. Even at 100% life, he died. And then I applied stun... I apply at least... it's a randomized stun between 1 to 3, and I managed to get 2 people with it, which is really good. Florentia is not a big deal, but getting Sword and Light and Shadow is actually pretty huge. And then Kyra here, I did damage her, so her sorceresses got weaker, and that probably is what saved me here. I'm also at full HP, so I do get the Trent bonus as well. So it goes here, heals everybody, gets rid of the stun. But I go first next round, so I go ahead and keep going with Hurricane Dance, which does more damage. Kyra passive heals, do a little bit of fixed damage, and then I do some debuffs as well. So this, I think it's what, a random? Yeah, it's a random... no, it's not random. It is random. Okay, yeah, random armor piece got disabled for all of them. So now their defenses are lowered and they have less than passives. So at this point, the Awakened decides to just throw it all at the wall here and do 3C. This will definitely kill, except for the fact that I have Unflinching active, so it doesn't even kill. Also, during this moment, I'm currently immune to all debuffs, so the crystal barriers didn't actually get removed, which was kind of helpful. That was the reason why I wasn't too concerned about Sword and Light and Shadow, because her Decisive Blade debuff will get gobbled up by a crystal barrier. So, Polyol's stuff is already spent. I don't really care if she stays alive or not. Awakened one is at less than 2,000 life left. Florentia is less than 4,000 life, and I have Lana here. I'm within range to go ahead and throw out a black hole here. So I go ahead and head on down. Take out both of them. Oh, I even take the life off of Sword and Light and Shadow as well. The Awakened will come back next round, but beyond that, I'm not that concerned. So finally got a kill. Gets a Spirit up, which unfortunately... so there's some fixed damage there, which was nice. Sword and Light and Shadow needs this Soul Scrap to get back her self-res, so she definitely needs it. Also, I think it heals, but she is currently unable to heal. So it's kind of nasty all around for her. And for the most part, she can only move 3 spaces afterwards. So if she goes anywhere that's actually remotely close to the soul scrap, she can't actually reach anybody, not even Lana. So I go ahead and use this time to go ahead and just get set up again. The Awaken's going to come back, but she'll be debuffed, and at this point I can probably outlast them. They don't have any heals, and this at this point my opponent got away. Well, not got away, but gave up. Yeah, the plan at that point was I was going to move up, do crystal healing on everyone except for Sophia, then have Sophia move up and do rewind. Both my AoEs were still on cooldown with Lana. I actually had bad rolls with them. So, but the rewind would have brought all that back, and then I just would have kept blasting. And there was nothing my opponent can do. There's no way. I mean, Kaira would do some passive healing, and all of her I think majority of her abilities are on cooldown as well. So it was just kind of how it played out. Not too, like I said, I don't get to use Lana too often, and Polyol's kind of off and on with her. Sometimes I win matches with her, sometimes I don't. So, but the amount of damage she just did was pretty impressive. So all good there. All right, that is it for this week. I'm gradually getting back up to a 50% win rate, which is nice after my massive losing streak I had on week 2 there. Ranking-wise, I am almost 256, but that's not going to last. I mean, people eventually are going to rush to Langrisser, and it's not going to matter. Anyway, I was talking about, Forbidden Battleground. That's what I was doing. I think the third one used Empire, so that was a bit rough. Well, that one wasn't rough. The Gillis one was the one that was rough. All right. Anyway, enough of that. I am The Depressed Hero. This is Langrisser Mobile Apex Season 14. I'll see you guys next time.